seem to go against the grain. I never intend to, it just seems that way. They say that necessity is the mother of invention, but what do they have to say of circumstance? I'm aware I sometimes have a tendency to look at what other people do and find myself comparing, noticing I'm going against the grain, but I try very hard not to and just do my thing and listen to my heart. Do what I enjoy and do it just for that reason alone. The circumstance is that when I came to Japan 4 years ago, I had the bare minimum of possessions. Everything that I could fit into a 30-kilo suitcase was what I had with me, and that was the entirety of my belongings here. On top of that, teaching English in Japan is not a well-paid job, so purchasing lots of expensive digital equipment such as an iPad Pro or drawing tablet screen thing was off the cards. But honestly, I didn't want to go down that path. My previous line of work was very computer-centric, and I had come to Japan to make a break from spending my working week in front of a computer. In short, I found it much more liberating to draw by hand. As time has passed, I have really found a huge amount of joy in this, because like how skating makes me feel like I'm using the entirety of my body to express myself, using pencil and ink makes me feel connected personally to what I am doing. This isn't to say that it doesn't exist in the digital realm. I've been using Photoshop for practically 30 years and still regularly make pixel art in Dulux Paint like I used to when I was just 10 years old. So I'm no technophobe or traditional materials snob. I just personally like the immediacy of when an idea comes into my head. I can immediately reach out for that sketchbook and put the idea down, sometimes very quickly, sometimes in more detail, with the aim of building on it later down the line. I love the freedom I feel when I pull out my sketchbook or a sheet of paper and just have an eraser and pencil. Very simple materials that cost fractions of the iPad Pro investment, and I can do it anywhere I like with no concern over battery life or screen visibility. Certainly the digital tools have come a hell of a long way. No doubt I would never say never to one of those such tools, but there is something that I feel when I use these real-world materials that is hard to put into words. I'm not trying to say that one is better than the other. I just like this way of working. Not everything has to be a competitor or diametrically opposed to one another. Some things can just exist happily, like in a shrine in a forest, quietly, passively existing, waiting to be discovered by someone and to charm someone. But it doesn't need to be an all-or-nothing argument, digital or traditional, for example, with these things. But say I like doing it this way, I'm not criticising the other ways. I like the fact I can compare my idle doodling in my sketchbooks and previous sketches that need refinement, and use my tracing table composite ideas together that come up with the refinements. There is no distraction with paper for me, no tab to switch to check anything. I find myself better able to concentrate and enter the zone, where I can be absorbed by what I'm doing, and then that's when time flies. As someone who is easily bored and can't just sit there and do nothing, this fits me like a glove. The necessity of not having the means to perhaps invest in an iPad Pro when I first came to Japan meant that the circumstances dictated my work patterns that I went down. Last year I went to the Miemu Museum in Tsu City to see the Hisao Takahata exhibition. Hisao Takahata is of Studio Ghibli fame, and it was all of his life work, and it was just incredible. To see his notebooks and sketches, photographs and all these items brought it all to life. I felt like I was witnessing a life of accomplishment that was visible to see. I found it so much more interesting than, say, browsing files on a computer or just printouts of the artwork. It was quite a wonderful, immersive experience seeing all of the paraphernalia that connected everything in his working life and, to some extent, personal life together. I like the fact that each sketchbook of mine not only contains a very visual indicator of my progression in ability and ideas, but I can also use it to work out ideas that otherwise feel that they would just swirl around in my head, being undeveloped and in turn irritating me. It's a pressure release valve, somewhere where I can work away on something privately and let the stronger ideas develop into something more. I can see the threads that connect my ideas together. There's a little bit of personal history, I guess. Japan does still seem to hold traditional artwork and crafts in high esteem. Maybe it's the situation I'm working in schools where kids are encouraged to be creative, but I've definitely seen a positive attitude towards handicrafts that inspires me to stick at what I enjoy doing and how I do it. Having the freedom to find myself wherever I am in this world and pull out the sketchbook or notebook and place down a little part of me at that place in time using my pencil is just the kind of freedom that I enjoy. and I feel that this is the working practice that I enjoy the most. Maybe it seems old-fashioned to some, but very few things in the world connect me like pencil does to paper.